It was a quiet Sunday afternoon, one of those peaceful days where nothing feels urgent, where time moves slowly and comfortably. Sunlight streamed through our living room windows, creating warm patterns on the hardwood floors. My wife Jessica sat curled up on the sofa, scrolling through her tablet while I relaxed in the recliner with a book I wasn't really reading. Then the phone rang. An unknown number flashed across the screen. I almost let it go to voicemail. Telemarketers usually call on Sundays, but something made me answer. And the moment I said hello, everything I thought I knew about my marriage died. The voice on the other end belonged to a woman I'd never met, and what she told me in the next 60 seconds would expose a betrayal so deep, so systematic, that my entire reality would collapse. Before we dive into what that stranger revealed, please hit that subscribe button. This story goes places you won't expect, and you'll want to be here for what comes next. "Hello," I answered, my voice casual. "Is this Daniel?" The woman's voice was steady but carried an undercurrent of tension, like she was forcing herself to remain calm. "Yes, this is Daniel. Who's calling?" A pause, long enough to make my stomach tighten uncomfortably. "My name is Michelle. We've never met, but I think you need to hear something important. Something about your wife." I glanced at Jessica. She was still absorbed in her tablet, completely unaware that our life was about to detonate. My hand instinctively tightened around the phone. "What about my wife?" I asked, keeping my voice low. Michelle exhaled slowly, like she'd been holding that breath for a long time. "Daniel, I don't know how to say this gently, so I'm just going to say it. Your wife has been having an affair with my husband for the past 7 months. The words didn't immediately register. They hung in the air like smoke, visible but not quite solid. 7 months. More than half a year. While I'd been working 60-hour weeks, while we'd been planning our vacation, while we'd celebrated our 6th anniversary. I, what? Who is your husband?" My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. "His name is Tyler. He works at the same consulting firm as Jessica. They've been meeting at hotels, at his apartment when I'm out of town, even at your house when you're at work." "At our house? In our bed?" The image made my vision blur. I looked at Jessica again. She was smiling slightly at something on her screen, completely at peace, completely convincing in her performance of the devoted wife. "How do you know this?" I managed to ask Michelle, part of me still desperately hoping this was a mistake, a misunderstanding, anything but the truth. "I found text messages, thousands of them, photos, videos they sent each other, hotel receipts on our credit card. I've known for 3 weeks, and I've been gathering evidence. I hired a private investigator who confirmed everything. Daniel, I'm telling you this because I know what it's like to be the last person to know, and you deserve the truth." My hands were shaking now. "Why are you telling me? Why now?" "Because Tyler admitted it yesterday. We're getting divorced, and your wife deserves the same consequences he's facing. She's been lying to both of us, Daniel, and from what I've seen in those messages, you're not the only one. There are others." The room tilted. "Others?" "At least 2 other men that I could identify from their conversations. Your wife has been living a completely separate life, one you know nothing about." I felt like I was drowning. "I need to go," I whispered. "Daniel, wait."
"I can send you everything. Screenshots, dates, locations. You'll need proof when sent." I gave her my email address and hung up. Jessica finally looked up from her tablet, sensing something had changed in the room's atmosphere. "Who was that?" she asked, her voice light, curious, but not concerned. I stared at her. Really looked at her. Tried to see the stranger she'd apparently been all along, hidden beneath the face I'd kissed goodnight for 6 years. That was Michelle, I said quietly. Tyler's wife. Jessica's expression didn't change immediately. For just a second, I saw her processing the name, calculating, deciding how to respond. Then her face arranged itself into confusion. "Who's Tyler?" she asked, tilting her head slightly. "Don't," I said, my voice harder than I'd ever used with her. "Don't insult me by lying right now. Michelle told me everything. 7 months, Jessica. You've been sleeping with her husband for 7 months." The blood drained from her face. Not slowly. Instantly. One moment she was a picture of innocent confusion. The next she was pale as paper. "Daniel, She stood up, the tablet clattering to the floor. "This isn't what it sounds like." "Really? Because it sounds like my wife has been systematically cheating on me for more than half a year. It sounds like you've been meeting him in hotels, in his apartment, in our house, in our bed." "Jessica," she opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. No words came out. I watched her frantically searching for an explanation, an excuse. Anything that would make this something other than what it was. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she finally whispered. "It just started as conversation at work, then coffee, then—" "Then what? Then you accidentally fell into bed with him? Accidentally did it again and again for 7 months? And what about the others, Jessica?" Her eyes went wide. "What others?" "Michelle saw your messages. There are at least 2 other men. How many are there really? How many people have you been sleeping with? Well, I thought we had a marriage." My phone buzzed. Michelle's email had arrived. I opened it on my laptop while Jessica stood frozen, watching me. The evidence was overwhelming. Screenshots of explicit messages dating back 8 months, even longer than Michelle had said. Photos of Jessica with different men. Hotel confirmation emails, restaurant receipts from dates I know nothing about. But the worst part was reading the messages where Jessica talked about me. "He has no idea. He's so clueless. He actually believed I was at a work conference." Each line was a knife. There was one exchange that destroyed me completely. "Tyler, do you ever feel guilty?" "Jessica, sometimes. But then I remember how boring he is. How predictable. You make me feel alive." I looked up from the screen. "You told him I was boring? Predictable? That I made you feel dead inside?" She was openly sobbing now. "I didn't mean it. I was just saying what Tyler wanted to hear. Daniel, I love you. I made terrible mistakes, but I love you." "You don't cheat on people you love," I said, my voice empty. "Not once. Definitely not for months, with multiple people. You don't laugh about them behind their back. That's not love, Jessica. That's contempt." She tried every manipulation tactic over the next hour. Tears, anger, bargaining, promises of change. She blamed her childhood, blamed her stress, blamed me for not paying enough attention. She suggested counseling, suggested we could work through this, suggested I was overreacting. I sat through it all, feeling nothing. The man who'd woken up that morning believing in his marriage was gone. What remained was someone who'd been made a fool of for months, while an entire network of people, Jessica, Tyler, at least 2 others, probably friends who knew and said nothing, had participated in my humiliation. "I want you out," I finally said. "Pack a bag tonight. You can come back for the rest when I'm not here." "Daniel, please!" "Now, Jessica." She packed through tears, grabbing clothes randomly, still trying to talk, to explain, to somehow undo what couldn't be undone. I called my brother and asked him to come over. I couldn't be alone with her anymore. Couldn't trust myself not to say things that would be used against me later. When she finally left, the house felt simultaneously emptier and cleaner, like removing a toxin I had known was poisoning me.
I filed for divorce the next morning. My attorney was grimly unsurprised. Apparently these cases were more common than anyone wanted to admit. The investigation I launched revealed the full scope of Jessica's deception. There weren't 2 other men, there were 4. She'd been running multiple affairs simultaneously for over a year, carefully scheduling her betrayals around my work travel, using girls' nights and work events as cover. She'd apparently gotten thrilled by the deception itself, the risk, the complexity of managing different lies to different people. I wasn't her husband. I was her safety net, the stable income and respectable facade that allowed her to play her games. The worst discovery came from our financial records. She'd opened a credit card I didn't know about and racked up $18,000 in charges of hotels, restaurants, and a jewelry store where she'd apparently been buying gifts for her affair partners with our money, with the money I'd been saving for the down payment on a house. During the divorce proceedings, she tried to claim she deserved half of everything because she'd been emotionally neglected. Her attorney actually argued that my work schedule had driven her to seek affection elsewhere, as if work support was a form of abuse that justified her behavior. The judge wasn't impressed. That was 2 years ago. The divorce finalized after 8 months of legal warfare. Jessica walked away with far less than she'd hoped for, and I walked away with my dignity and my freedom. I heard through mutual friends that 2 of her affair partners wanted nothing to do with her once everything became public. Tyler divorced Michelle and briefly continued seeing Jessica, but that fell apart within months. Turns out, relationships built on betrayal don't have strong foundations. Who knew? I've spent the past 2 years rebuilding. Not just my life, but my ability to trust, to open up, to believe that not everyone is hiding a secret agenda. It's been harder than I expected. Therapy helped. Time helped more. Last month I went on my first date since the divorce. Her name is Rachel. She's a graphic designer, and she has this refreshing directness that comes from having been through her own betrayal. We're taking it slow. Both of us cautious, but hopeful. Jessica tried to reach out 6 months ago, a long email about how she'd been in therapy, how she understood now what she'd done, how she wanted to apologize properly. I read it once and deleted it. Some apologies come too late to matter. If you're watching this and you've been betrayed, I want you to know something. It's not your fault.
The person who cheated made a choice. Hundreds of choices, actually. Every lie, every secret meeting, every moment they looked you in the eyes and pretended everything was fine while destroying your trust. You can recover from this. It won't be quick and it won't be easy, but you can build a new life that's actually real instead of being built on someone else's lies. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you experienced betrayal like this? How did you move forward? Your stories help others who are going through the same pain. Subscribe for more honest stories about relationships, betrayal, and finding yourself again after everything falls apart. And remember, trust should never require detective work. If you find yourself constantly doubting, constantly checking, constantly feeling like something's off, trust that instinct. It's usually trying to tell you something important. Sometimes the worst day of your life becomes the first day of your real life. That Sunday phone call destroyed my marriage, but also freed me from a lie I didn't even know I was living. Thank you for watching.